Let's discuss some important vocabulary words for this lesson. These will include divisor, dividend, quotient, partial quotient, and multiple. These are terms you should already know. Let's start with divisor. In division, a divisor is a number that divides another number. In our example, 3 is the divisor. In division, a dividend is the number that is being divided. In our example, 21 is the dividend. In division, a quotient is the result of dividing one number by another number. In this case, 7 is the quotient. A partial quotient is part of the quotient, and the sum of the partial quotients equal the quotient. You should already know the definition of a multiple, the product of a number and an accounting number. In our example, we have the multiples of 7 going all the way up through 7,756. Now, it's time to do a little bit of mental math. Here are some quick division problems that you should know in your head. These are basic division facts. 7 into 35, 8 into 56, and 9 into 81. Here are 3 more problems. These will involve remainders, but again, these should be pretty easy for you to do in your head. But take a moment and pause the video if you need to write down your answers. Now, let's move on with the lesson. Whee! Let's use the partial quotients method to solve our first problem. 6 divided into 1,010. Go ahead and draw your line down the side. Now let's ask ourselves, are we going to use 10 or 100? Let's go ahead and use 100 because we know 100 times 6 is 600. Go ahead and subtract. That's going to give us 410. Okay, we can't use 100 now, so let's go ahead and use tens, but 10 times 6 is 60. That's not enough. And then times 20 is 120, times 30 is 180, times 40 is 240, times 50 is 300, and times 60 is 360. Let's use that. 60 times 6 is 360. Let's subtract. That's going to give us 50. Now 6 into 50, we know this through mental math. We're going to multiply 6 times 8, and we're going to get 48. Then we'll subtract, and that'll leave us with a remainder of 2, which is smaller than 6. Let's go ahead and circle that. That's going to be our remainder. Now we're going to add up all of our partial quotients. 100 plus 60 plus 8 will give us 168. Remember to write this in the correct columns above for your answer. Now let's try that same problem using another method, long division. We learned this yesterday, but let's try it and see how it goes. Start with the first 2 columns. 6 into 10, that goes 1 time, that's 6. Subtract, we get 4. Drop down your 1 from the next column, 6 into 41. That's going to give us 6. 6 times 6, that's 36, we know that. Subtract, and we're going to get 5. Make sure you drop down your 0. That answer is 50. How many times does 6 go into 50? We know that's 8. 8 times 6, that's going to be 48. Go ahead and subtract. Your remainder is going to be 2. Remainder of 2, because 2 is smaller than 6. So that's your answer. But we can also write this as a fraction. We can write this at 2/6, but 2/6 looks kind of funny. Let's go ahead and simplify that, and let's make that 1/3. So your answer is 168, remainder of 1. Let's try another problem. This time, let's divide 8 into 185. Okay, draw your line down the side. Now let's take a look. We can't do 100, we know that. That would be too big. So we're going to use the tens. Let's try 10. 10 times 8, well that's 80. Let's subtract. That's going to give us 105. There we go. Now, we can do that again. Let's do that. 10 times 8, that's 80. Go ahead and write that in. Now let's subtract again. That's going to give us 25. Can't do 10 again, but what goes into 25? How about 3? That's going to give us 24, which means we have a remainder of 1. That's smaller than 8. That's our remainder. Let's add up our partial quotients, and we get 23. 23 is our answer with our remainder. Let's write that in. 23 with a remainder of 1. Let's try a word problem involving some string bean seeds. Let's say we have 237 string bean seeds, and we want to plant them in rows, and each row we want to contain 8 seeds. There we go, 8 seeds in a row. The question is, how many complete rows can we make? Let's go ahead and write our problem out. We're going to have 8 rows, and we're going to divide that into 237 seeds. Let's write that in our box and go ahead and draw our line down the side. Now, we can't use 100. That's going to be too big. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use 10. So let's try using 20. 20 is a nice number. 20 times 8. That gives us 160. Let's subtract. 7, borrow, and then we're going to get another 7. Now, we know that 10 times 8 is 80, so we want a little less than Let's do 9 times 8. 9 times 8, that's going to give us 72. We're going to subtract. Our answer is 5, and that's smaller than 8. That'll be our remainder. Add up our partial quotients, and our answer is 29 with a remainder of 5. If we remember our directions, we need complete rows. Let's go ahead and look at our problem again. 8 divided into 237. Let's do standard division this time. Let's say 8 into 23 goes in twice. That gives us 16. All right, let's subtract. We're going to get 7. What I did was I went ahead and borrowed from my tens column, moved it over, and subtract. Drop down your next 7, 77. That's going to give us 9. Times 8 is 72. Subtract. That gives us 5. But we don't want a remainder. We want complete rows. So 29 complete rows. That's going to be our actual answer. Now let's try a big problem. Let's do 36 divided into 2,628. Go ahead and draw your line down the side. Now, let's see. Do we want to do tens or do we want to do hundreds? I think 100 is going to be too big. Let's cross that out. We know we're going to do tens. How many tens do we want to use? Let's think. We can get 360 out of 36 times 10. That's kind of small. What else could we do? 36 times 50. What's that going to give us? 0, 0, multiply 1,800. That's a nice big number. I like that. Let's do that. 50. So 36 times 50, 0, 3 times, there we go, carry over, and 1,800. Go ahead and subtract. 8, 2, go ahead and borrow 1. 16 minus 8 is 828. Okay. Now let's look. We know that 36 times 10 is 360. So let's try 20. Okay. We're going to get a 0. That's 12. Carry your 1. 6 plus 7. 720. Let's subtract. That's going to be an 8, a 0, and a 1. Okay. Now, we know we can't do tens anymore. That's going to be too big. So 36 into 108. Let's try 2. 2 sounds good. That'll probably be a good size number. 2 times 6. That's 2. Carry the 1. 2 times 3. 6 and 1. 72. Subtract. That gives us 6. That's going to give us 336. That's the same. So we know that's going to be an answer of 1 with no remainder. No remainder. Let's add up our partial quotients. 50 plus 20. That's going to be 70. 2 plus 1. That's 3. Add together. 73 is our answer. Make sure you write your answer in the correct columns above. Let's try another problem. Let's do 13 divided into 6,478. Let's try this using our long division standard method. So, 13 divided into 64. Let's try 4. 4 times 3 is 12, carry your 1, and that's 52. Let's go ahead and subtract. We're going to get 2 and 1, there's 12, and that's smaller than 13. Drop down the 7. Now 13 into 127. We know 10 times 13 is 130, so let's try 9. So 9 times 3, that's going to give us 27. Carry your 2. 9 times 1, that's 9, plus 2 is 11. Let's subtract. That's going to go ahead and give us 10. Drop your 8 down. There you go. Now let's try it again. And this time, we're going to go ahead and use 8. 8 times 3, that's 24. Carry your 2. 8 times 1 plus 2, that's 10. Our remainder is 4. That's smaller than 13. Go ahead and circle that. And up here, go ahead and write it in. Remainder 4. 498, remainder 4. Let's double check our work by multiplying out our quotient against our divisor. 498 times 13. 3 times 8, that's 24. Carry your 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 will be 29. Carry your 2. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Put a 0 in your ones column. 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 9 is 9, and 1 times 4 is 4. Let's go ahead and do some addition. We know how to do addition. This is simple for us. Make sure that you're carrying over. There you go. Add that together, 14 and 6. But that doesn't look like our dividend from our original problem. Oh, but we had a remainder of 4. That's right. When you have a remainder, you have to add it in. So 6,478, that was our dividend. Our answer is correct. Happy face! Yay!